So last night, Shane Burgos was knocked out by Edson Barboza in the third round after another blood and guts fight. There was a lot of hype on Burgos going into this fight, and many pegged him to secure a dominant win. But today I'm going to be talking about how Shane Burgos got himself knocked out by Edson Barboza. If you guys missed last week's Painting and Fighting on our long form channel, The Fight Site Presents, I talked about how Burgos' strengths and weaknesses were poised to play right into Barboza's. I was also in the minority in thinking that Barboza was likely to win an ugly decision over Burgos, which I think would have likely have happened had this fight continued. But it's neither here nor there. Let's talk about why Burgos couldn't get in on Barboza and land his signature flurry of combinations. I think a lot of assumptions about Burgos' style was that he was a volume punching pressure fighter, and I think that's true to a certain degree. But I think he can't pressure or apply volume without an opening from his opponent. This is why Burgos can get stuck in the jabbing trade, and we saw this in display against Barboza. In order to get in on Barboza, Burgos immediately looked to establish a jab and his head movement. This is to get Barboza to try to hit his head, and he can immediately swim underneath it and come up with combinations. This worked wonders against Cater, and it should have worked against Barboza. That is, if Barboza needed his jab to find his range. Here is where we saw Burgos' limitations played right into Barboza's strength. Barboza has no issue blasting low kicks or body kicks with minimal range finding. This is likely from experience, but Burgos also presented it to himself to be kicked easily. When I mentioned earlier that Burgos relies on his opponent opening up for him to apply combinations, he needs to have a strong base under him to do so. However, this leads to his lead leg turned in and his weight forward. Combined with standing in just outside jabbing range, and Barboza was set to have a field day laying waste to Burgos' lead leg. And that was what led Burgos to be on the end of a beating. He doesn't have an entry into his combinations without Barboza giving it to him, and standing out in range got his body chopped up. Burgos made some good adjustments in the second round by starting to kick out Barboza's trailing leg, which then forced Barboza to try and trade with him. This is where the majority of Burgos' success came in. By forcing Barboza to respond to his body kick and his low kick, he could then work in combination and hit him back. But ultimately what led to Burgos getting knocked out was the same setup for his offense. By waiting for Barboza to make the first move, he needs to move his head out of the way or simply eat the shot and move in to fill the space. However, he likely thought Barboza was going for just a jab, which ended up being a 1-2. The right hand came over Burgos' shoulder and blindsided him, knocking him out. There isn't much to say beyond that, apart from this is how Burgos' offense got him knocked out by Edson Barboza. The fight was an absolute banger, and I hope Burgos is okay. I don't think there's much left to say about either fighter. Their strengths work in a vacuum, and when they get a bad style matchup, these things were bound to happen. With that being said, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give us a like, comment, or subscribe. You can help us out by subscribing to our Patreon, and starting at $3, you can get access to exclusive content. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the fights.